Hello students, welcome to your helpful optional how-to video for your week 5 critical assignment. Again, this is an optional video, but it does walk through what I'm anticipating or expecting for this assignment. So feel free to watch as much as you need. Now you'll see on the screen, it looks a little bit different than what you see because I'm making the video now. So the video that you clicked on is actually located here. I'm missing it because I'm making it. But you'll see that it does have the descriptors here on the side. Now to access your assignment, you click on that week 5 critical assignment piece here, and that'll open up in a separate tab for you. Now, when it opens up, you're gonna have to download this in order to edit it. Since I'm the original author, I can edit this in my list regardless of whether I download it or not. However, you will have to go through those steps. When you go into this assignment, it does talk about the expectations, just like we talked about in the meeting. You do want to get at least 12 points minimum on this assignment. Aim for as much as you can get, preferably 100%. It is one of the critical assignments. There are 4 in the class, so you do have to do this in order to pass the class. And then it tells you about what you should have done before you begin the assignment. So it says you want to make sure you did the meeting for week 5. You want to make sure you do a few problems on the week 5 online lab because the setup on this assignment is going to be similar to that, just to make it a little bit easier for everybody. And then in order to do this assignment at all, you need to make sure you have completed the week 3 video lab testing for vitamin C. And you have to be able, you should have completed the week 4 practice calculating representative particles assignment as well, because this is the final piece to that. So those 2 assignments are the precursor pieces to this assignment, and you need to have those values in order for this assignment to make sense. As you go through the assignment, there are 4 parts to the assignment. Don't freak out. I promise you they don't take as long as you think they would. It's just broken down so you know what steps you have to do. So make sure you go through all the steps because it's what's going to help you set up to be successful. So now when you get to part 1, it does want you to paste your table from your week 4 calculating representative particles assignment. Please know I don't have that open on here, but I'm going to show you how to go about copying and pasting that. What I'm going to do is scroll down here. You don't want to do this. You're going to take it from your week 4 assignment. This is just so I can show you. Now what I'm going to do is click on this little crosshair mouse pointer and then right click and hit copy, and that's going to copy my table. So you can do that in your week 4 assignment to copy the entire table. And then when you go up here, you're going to paste that. Now if you're in a desktop Word, you can right click and paste. If you're in OneDrive like I am, you can't do that. So if you're using OneDrive to put this, what you're going to do is hit Control V as in Vixen at the same time, and that will paste your table. And then you have all the data from your table and your assignment for week 4 practice in your assignment for week 5. So that's the very first part, is just transferring that information into the assignment. Okay, so make sure you do that. You can pause the video if you want to do that before we move on to the next piece. I'm just going to get rid of the table here because I don't need it in here. And then part 2 is setting up our dimensional analysis. And this is, again, just setting up the problem that we are going to use to calculate the values that we want in the end. So we're starting with moles of iodine. We get the moles of iodine from that table we pasted in part 1. And we're going to use the moles of iodine to calculate the mass of vitamin C in milligrams for each juice in both the standard and test of our choice for all of the juices that we did. So ultimately, you're going to have 8 calculations and 8 answers total. So that might seem like a lot. However, the reason why we're doing part 2 is because once you have the dimensional analysis set up, the only thing that's changing is your moles of iodine. So you're using the same setup 8 times. You're just changing the moles of iodine from your table. So if you scroll down here, I have the chemical equation right here, and it's already balanced for you. And then you'll see that I have this layout here, and then I have these little step blocks that you can use. And ultimately, what you're going to do is drag up the block to put it in the dimensional analysis here. If you can't drag it, you can feel free just to set it up down here towards the bottom. If you end up opening this in a Word document, they are more fluid. OneDrive has them a lot more rigid. So if you're using the Word document in OneDrive, you're probably going to have to set them up below this line. If you're using the desktop version of Word, these will be able to move more fluid and just drag right over here. So you're going to use these tiles just like we did in the week 5 online lab meeting, putting them into the dimensional analysis so that it'll make sense and cancel out your units so you can solve for the mass of your vitamin C. So again, that's going to be that one piece for part 2. And here is your mole road if you want to use that to follow along with your tiles. You just have to make sure that they're in the right order. Once you have that set up, if you want me to approve of it before you do all the work, I am more than willing to do that. All you have to do is send me a copy of your worksheet. You can simply put a screenshot into an email and I will let you know if it's set up right or not before you go through the calculations. If you're confident in your setup and you're ready to go, you can feel free to go on to part 3. Now, part 3 has us calculating vitamin C using the stoichiometry setup we did in part 2. So you're starting with moles of iodine, and remember that is from your table in part 1, and you're calculating the mass of vitamin C in milligrams for each fruit juice in both the standard test and the test of choice. So again, you have 8 calculations and 8 answers total, and you're going to put those in the table that you see on the screen. Now, what we're going to do is use the information from part 2, once you calculate milligrams of vitamin C, to compare that to part 4 reflection pieces. So down here, once you get your milligrams of vitamin C, I want you to come down to part 4, and I want you to compare the mass that you had for your vitamin C in your specific juices to what you see on the screen. So let's say I have pineapple juice, and it says down here, if I use 5 milliliters of pineapple juice, I have 1.64 milligrams of vitamin C. Let's say you got like 0.8. So that's going to be a comparison and a little bit of an error in that piece. You're going to do the same with apple juice. You're going to look at apple juice, look at the vitamin C we would have, and then ultimately what we got in our calculations. And you're going to do that for all 4 of those. And then it has questions down here where you're comparing the information and hypothesizing why it might be off. Okay, so again, part 1 has you copying and pasting your table from your week 4 practice assignment. Part 2 has you setting up your dimensional analysis so you know the math you'll do. And ultimately, you're just changing moles of iodine each time you're doing that problem. And then part 3 has you just recording your answers in that table. Part 4 has you comparing your answers to the labels and the amounts, and then answering questions. So go ahead and get started on this. Please remember, if you have any questions or you need help, don't hesitate to reach out. Otherwise, good luck. And we will move on to week 6 when the PACE chart opens after this.